Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzie,
Hello, I'm here.
and we are here to talk about The Bad Batch. We missed a couple episodes, um, so we're going to talk about all three of them. We have episode 9, The Crossing, episode 10, Retrieval, which really go together very well, and episode 11, Metamorphosis, which I think might be one of my favorite Star Wars episodes ever.
Like Star Wars episodes?
Yeah, I think so. I
Oh,
really
okay.
enjoyed it. I thought it was it was really good. I liked it very much.
Interesting. Okay.
It gave some started to give some closure to things.
That's fair.
And I just like the elements of other genres in it. We'll talk about it.
The
Um,
nods, yeah.
very, very fun. Yeah, so no really news for Star Wars this week. Obviously the Mandalorian season 3 premiere also came out, which was also very good, but we'll talk about that in another episode. We're gonna give Bad Batch its time to shine here. And lots of books. I think it was like 4 books or comics or something also came out March 1st today. So we got like
Oh,
2 episodes. We got Bad Batch episode, Mando episode, and like a bunch of other stuff. It's a great day for Star Wars.
dude,
Um,
I think I don't know if you saw my Twitter post a while ago, uh, but I was literally trying to have this conversation. I was trying to talk Star Wars with one of my chefs at school, or like school/work, and this guy behind me was like trying to get into our conversation, which is fine, but he kept trying to like ignore me every time. And so he was trying to kick me out of my own conversation. And and he was like, yeah, and like Mandalorian's coming out, and I don't know when. I wish I knew when. And I was like, March 1st. He was like, no, I don't think that's right. I don't know when it is. And I was like, oh my God, it's March 1st. Please. Why are you doing
uh,
this? But
bro, ever heard of Google?
yeah,
That's
I
sorry.
was so frustrated. I was like,
This
dude.
is like my pet peeve for no reason. But like when people like that, like an easily like solvable question by typing a few words on our magic devices, and they just like are like for like a long time, like I just don't know. Like it's like
It's such a mystery.
I know it's like, man, I wish I knew. Like you have the power. Like you're holding it in your hand.
And even
That's I don't
then,
know. I'm
I was
someone who like
literally giving
I
that
Google
information to you.
right, yeah, and then he's like he gets it. He's like, I don't think so. It's like just Google it, just check. Like what? It's so yeah, that's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like my pet. I also like I'm just someone who Googles everything. Like I'll think of a random question. I'm like, huh. I wonder like just like how many like days are usually in a whatever or whatever, and I just Google it. Like I just have to know. Like I cannot imagine thinking of a question and being, huh. I wonder about that, and then not using the very easy
That
access
was
you
me
have.
in like elementary school/middle school because I didn't have a phone and I didn't have a
Well, that's
computer either.
different. That's
No, I know.
different.
I know, but my dad would like because they my parents knew I didn't have the internet. So I
Hmm.
would be like, "Hey dad, like why like very simple like child questions. It'd be like, "Why is the sky blue?" He'd be like, "I don't know, look it up." I'm like, "How? How? I cannot. I don't
that's
have that power."
that's funny.
It was
Um,
awful.
no, I mean that's understandable. And there's some questions that like don't have an easily Googleable answer, right? Like it's the answer you get like opinions and stuff. But like sometimes it's just like a simple like just like questions, like just Google it. Like it's if you have a phone, like it, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Sorry, that this is like so off topic. It's just a random pet peeve of mine I have. Like I
Yeah.
And it's
That's
not like I
okay.
even mind answering people's questions, but like when it's something like that and you tell me and I'm like, are you sure? Or, like, I don't think so. It's like, dude, come on.
Please.
Sorry. That
Yeah.
was I didn't know I had that rant stored up inside for so long.
I know you've definitely said it once before. I've heard
I
it
just
before.
probably I just like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you have like we have these remarkable pieces of almost endless knowledge that we have access to like never before in human history. And you're not going to take advantage of that? I don't
Yeah.
understand. It does simply does not make sense to me. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is not about my pet peeves. That would be an interesting podcast, just like a pet peeves rant podcast.
It would be a
That would
long podcast.
yes, it would be many parts, but you can make a whole like podcast, like series out of it.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're
Or
here
like
about. We're here
a
about
Netflix show.
yeah. It probably is a
Peeves.
Netflix show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or like maybe like Hulu or something. It's definitely a show. Or it's it's probably already a podcast for sure. It's almost definitely a podcast or like a YouTube
I want to look it up.
series.
It's probably
That look it up. See?
yeah,
Be
but
so
I don't
smart.
want to for this situation. Like
Look, I don't know. I'm not sure what to look up. A pet peeves show.
pet peeve
Pet
podcast
peeves. The TV series in 2012. I don't think that's quite what I mean.
2012.
But I think it's like just like a show. like called Pet Peeves, not a
Oh.
show where they talk about their pet
Oh, I
peeves.
see.
But here's like Stephen Colbert does a segment where he asks celebrities their pet peeves.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there are multiple pet peeves podcasts according to a quick Google of pet peeves podcast. Although one looks like it's just about pets and it's a little play on words, which is fun. Anyway, the Bad Batch.
Yes, Bad
The
Batch.
first episode we have to talk about.
The Animal Crossing.
Yes, the Animal Crossing, or
Mhm.
just the Crossing for the uncultured.
Yes.
Episode 9, the Crossing. Spoiler free on this one. I really enjoyed this one. I thought there was a lot of good like relationship building and character insight that we got. It was just like fun to watch. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful visuals. The environments were stunning, and they're always stunning in the Bad Batch.
Mhm.
But like really,
Yeah,
way there's animals like
I just like seeing Omega have a lot of emotions. I think it's neat. Like,
mhm.
I don't know. I mean, because she's a kid. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't even. So, if you say ever that Omega is a kid in front of my dad, he just screams. He's like, they're all kids. They're all children. They're all the same age. Omega's older than them.
Oh, well,
All the time.
but like that's not
right? I know
that's
exactly what you're trying to say.
come on. I mean,
That's what
like
I'm saying.
chronologically, sure. That's like saying Rex and Rebels is not old.
Yeah.
Like he is. Just on a different scale, That'd be like if you're saying like, well, Grogu's not a kid because he's 50.
Mm-hmm.
Same logic, in my opinion. They have a
Mm-hmm.
different age scale.
Exactly. But Omega's like an actual kid.
No, Omega's
like,
a literal child.
yeah, like
Also,
Omega's mentally a
saying
kid,
Omega's
physically a kid.
Even by the logic, saying Omega's a kid doesn't even say that the others are not kids necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
But I just like seeing her have like different emotions for things that she's going through, especially with the past episodes that have been happening, like, with Echo and stuff like that.
Yeah, and she's
cool.
She's at an age, obviously, where big emotions are the thing. and she's going through these things where even if she wasn't at that age, big emotions would still be a thing. So
Yeah.
it's very, very nice to see.
Yes. And I don't
I
want
just thought
anyone
of
being mad at her because she's literally a kid.
I just remembered I made a TikTok video about Omega. It was just like a little like cute edit thing. And someone commented and they were like, "Isn't she older than the Bad Batch? Was that your dad's secret account?" Did
You
I
know
find
what? It probably
that?
was.
Did I find that?
I
Um,
I don't know what happened to my TikTok. It's all like Last of Us and like Pedro Pascal, of course. But then there's like it's very rare, but I don't know why it's rare, but it doesn't give me a lot of Star Wars stuff. So
mhm.
like I'm kind of used to not having a lot of Star Wars stuff on my For You page. And I think I sent it to you, but literally I just got like a video and it was an edit of like Captain Rex. And it was like not really like a thirst video, but like it kind of was. And it was really weird. And I was like, I'd never seen any edits for like Bad Batch and Rex. What is this?
My whole TikTok is it's really not that much Star Wars. It's mostly like D&D, Critical Role, Overwatch, a little bit of Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah. Mine is cooking, Puss in
And animals. I get
Boots.
a lot of animals.
Overwatch. I get a lot of Overwatch. It's not even like any funny things anymore. It's just people playing, and it's like the most boring like plays sometimes. And I'm like, and like I'll watch it because I'm like, oh, it's probably something funny. It's like no, like this guy got a headshot like once, and he's like showing the world, and I'm like, all right, okay. Uh,
I get mostly funny Overwatch. But I think I don't like you say you watch it just to see. If I think for a second it looks like just like a regular play, I'm like I just scroll next one. Like I don't even
yeah.
give them a chance.
Well, I give them a little chance. I'm like, oh, maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe they don't know how to edit their videos and it's just long and they're like, wait for it. I don't I don't know. But I also get cats. A lot of cats. Pedro Pascal, art. Um yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of fun. But yeah.
If anyone wants to see Star Wars edit, I post them on my TikTok
I see them
sometimes.
sometimes. I'm like, hee hee.
Sometimes I made a Bo-Katan one.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud of it.
Yes.
Um,
I did see that one. I liked it.
I don't get comments, but
I
it's
can
okay.
start commenting.
You don't
I
have to
will
do
be
that.
like my dad,
This
be
is
like,
very
"Hey,
funny.
Omega's older than this one too." Yeah.
Oh my God, does ever any video like it's like, well, Mega's older than them. Like, I think that should be the new trend. Any video where Omega's technically older than the character, be like, well, Mega's older than them. So,
Yeah. So, duh.
so they're a
There's
kid
that.
because Omega's
Yeah.
older than them. So they're a kid.
Yeah. Anyway, Bad Batch.
Anyway, Bad Batch. Um,
Spoiler free. I think it was good, and I like seeing Omega have emotions. That's it. That's my spoiler free.
yeah. So basically, the episode starts and they go to this like Minecraft Mesa biome planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty. Like I said, the environments were absolutely gorgeous, really pretty, and they're going to like an abandoned Ipsium mine. Which I was thinking like when you like put a text box in or something, it says like lorem ipsum blah blah blah. That's what it made me think of. I don't know if anyone cares about that. I think about it a lot. Lorem ipsum. I don't know why. It was central to my childhood. I played with Word documents a lot.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Okay.
um, yeah. So Sid like bought an Ipsium mine, and they need to go and take the Ipsium out, which is like, obviously in Star Wars it can never be like a regular rock. It's like super explosive, like
Like, you touch it, it explodes, like
right, because they can never
dangerous.
just have like it's just a rock. It's always gotta be like something. It was coaxium was the same thing. Thoralide was the same thing. It's always explosive.
Yeah.
Everything explodes. Um, but so they're gonna go like get this stuff out. Um, Wrecker's very excited about the explosives, which I like. That's so
Mhm.
funny. So like they get into the mine. Wrecker and Omega stay outside of them, or Wrecker stays outside of the mine, to watch out while Tech, Hunter, and Omega all go inside. And Tech like park the ship like behind a
Out
little
of view.
ledge. I know. Um, yeah, and they also have like mentioned they're like, oh, because originally Omega was going to stay out with Wrecker, and they're like, oh, like, but we don't have Ecker, like, or Echo,
Ecker.
Ecker, Echo. We need um like three people inside or whatever, so we can only have one person. So Wrecker
Mhm.
watches. And they go in the mine, and there's like pretty much no Ipsium, but they do find like hidden in the back. And they're being very careful, and Omega has like a little syringe thing, and she climbs up and does it because she has little noodle arms. Um,
Mhm.
and they're very careful. They're drilling and getting, and it's like they put it in little like tubes. Um,
Yes. I think it's like impressive that they like obviously they trust Omega, but like to trust her to do this specific like, very dangerous job.
uh-huh.
Like that's kind of cool. I also think it's
Yeah,
funny because they gave he she gave him a little attitude too, which I thought was kind of cute because it was like this build up of not having Echo for this like whole trip. Um and the fact that like she later thinks that like no one actually cares that he's gone.
right.
So like just this little like the attitude building up slowly, I thought was kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, uh, she gets all the really well, not all of it, but they think that there's only like very little Ipsium there.
Yeah, so like,
Um,
we'll take what little there is and get back because it's still like very valuable.
yeah,
And while they're doing that, Wrecker's standing guard, but this person with a mask and or it was more of a helmet, but the helmet was pretty cool. I thought it was
it had
nice.
like feathers and stuff.
Yeah, it
I
was
thought they were
cool.
gonna be like non-human.
See, I thought it was maybe non-human, and I was like, is this like someone?
Yeah,
And almost anytime there's like a mysterious masked figure, I'm like, is this gonna be someone? And it's not always, but sometimes it is. Um, but so this person comes in and just walks right onto their starship. Um, because this happens like in stars, they always leave the ramp down, and there doesn't seem to be like a key, like like as a car.
yeah,
So like people literally just walk in and like, cool, this is mine now. And I feel like something needs to be done about that, right?
yeah. I mean,
The ramp is always down, and they never. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm sure I'm wrong, and someone will, you know,
my dad.
message me, and your dad will message me and be like, actually, according to this book, blah, blah, blah. But like, I mean, clearly they didn't have a key, so
Mhm.
or they left it in the ship, which is even worse.
I feel like they have like a button on their wrist, maybe. I feel like that makes
Yeah, but
sense.
then
I
like,
don't know.
how did this kid just fly
I
off?
don't know. He said he's a really good thief. So like,
Is he though? He said
I don't
that.
know.
He said that, sure. um, I don't know. I just like, they always leave the ramp down. Like, surely you have something that you can like open it when you come back. Like, you don't need to just leave it open. Like, at least try to make it hard. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean it was that and then they also couldn't like keep an eye on it. Like
Right.
literally
No, Tech
the
literally parks it like around the cliff, and then's like, Wrecker, why
How
didn't you
dare
stop this
you?
person?
Yeah.
Like, how was he supposed to know?
There was also just like that tension between them was like interesting because like Tech was literally blaming Wrecker, and it wasn't like the simple like making fun. It was like,
No,
dude,
Tech
what's
was
your
like,
problem?
Tech really was like, it's his fault.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not like entirely blaming it on Tech, but like, you are the one that parked it out of sight. Like, you either had to send Wrecker to the ship or keep Wrecker at the entrance. Um, and it's like, I mean, like he did see it once it was in the air, and then what's he do?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so someone flies off with their ship, and
Yep. It's just kind
there's,
of gone.
I know, it's like, okay, like, they can't. The one thing that this kid did do was like shut down the trackers on it, so they can't track it with their little wristy thingies. Um, so there's a storm coming, so
Yeah.
they go to find this like look for a town. There's like they detect like a town. So they're like, oh, maybe we can like get a ship there, get comms. So they're walking through. Um, Omega tries to reach out to Echo, but he's too far away for their short range comms. And Tech also says that Echo turned off his comm because he's probably on a secret mission. And
Mhm.
Omega's sad about that. Poor
Yeah, I
Omega.
mean, she just lost a dad.
Hmm.
Cue my dad screaming that they're all children. But like that's like a whole like not even if he was a father figure because they're all kind of like just like family figure, you know? Like
Family. No, he's family. He's at least like an older brother. I
yeah,
definitely think they're all more fathers. But definitely like undeniably
just
older brothers,
mhm.
even though
Like
they
you're
aren't
just
technically
losing that.
chronologically older.
Mhm, mhm,
Sal.
mhm.
But um
So say they're brothers, say they're family,
they're
whatever. Like they're
brothers.
still
Like,
family. Like
and like it's still
don't
like,
suck.
even it's like a person she's like removing family from, like it's a person she's lived with for a little while now. Like it's a presence you miss, even if you're
Yeah.
not close, and they are close. So it's
And then especially with the way he left, that was so
right,
rude, by the
very
way.
sudden. Very
Like,
sudden. No, and the worst part, I still think the worst part is like, okay, maybe he didn't fully decide until they were away on their little side mission. And so he told them then and didn't get the chance to tell her before. Like, I'll give him that grace. But then everyone else is like, okay, bye. Like,
yeah.
no awareness of the fact that Omega doesn't know. So, like, like,
That
what the
was
heck was
just
that, guys?
rude.
Come on. It's because they're kids, I guess. Yeah, but they're walking and they're running out of water in their canteens, which is not good. But they're trudging along, and then these like antelope things come, and oh, there's this beautiful shot that I love. It was like so National Geographic of them, like a top down like bird's eye view, and you can see like the movement of the herd through the canyon. You know what I'm talking about?
Huh? Wait, hold on. Oh, my
What?
brain just stopped working. What
There was a
happened?
shot, like it was like a bird's eye, like top down view, and then it was
Oh,
like the herd moving through the canyon and like seeing like
yes,
the movement.
that
It was
like Lion King.
beautiful. Like Lion King, like very,
Yeah,
I was thinking
yeah,
like it's very like nature documentary.
yeah. I just thought of Lion King because I heard the stampede and I was like, oh no, which like
It was also very Lion
brother
King.
slash father figure gonna die here? And then like Wrecker jumped down and I was like, no, and he was like,
Tech
ah ah
Tech is
ah.
like, Hunter, brother, help me.
Yeah.
um,
But he
that's
was
funny.
fine. He took it.
Yeah, everyone's fine. But they like hang from a little like arch thing, arch rock
Mhm.
thing. Um, and
And that's
then
when
but
Tech is
yeah,
still scolding Wrecker and is
I
like, you
know
shouldn't have
Tech.
dropped it. And
No,
Wrecker's like,
and
fine, you carry
yeah,
it.
Wrecker drops their big canister of the Ipsium, and they're like, oh, like it's getting trampled by this herd. If it gets jostled around so much, it's gonna explode. So that's when Wrecker jumps down and like just holds it. um, yeah, Tech was like, well, mean. Like, I think you're still salty about the ship. Like, dude, that was totally your fault. I think
I
maybe
mean,
Tech was like kind of knew it was his fault, but he was like, no, he doesn't want to admit it was his fault. So he's like, I'm just gonna be like little
jerky.
dickish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
He he was salty.
he was
But
very
then
salty.
they go into another mine and they get like trapped in there because of the storm.
Yes, they found
Um
another mine and it closes. Or you know what it was? It was the Ipsium exploded because
yes.
Wrecker was carrying the Ipsium canister, and when Tech um was like, you shouldn't have dropped it, Wrecker was like, well, you carry it. And Tech's like, fine. And then Tech drops it and it explodes, and that's what blocks them in.
Yeah.
So now they're trapped and they have no Ipsium. So Wrecker,
Ipsium
Hunter,
lists
and Tech start trying to move the rocks out of the way, which is not making much
any
progress at
progress.
all. And then she has a little, like, she's very focused on the Marauder and finding the Marauder, trying to track it, which she can't because the transponder's shut off. But she's like so worried about it, and the others aren't, to her, don't seem as worried or upset. Which I think it wasn't as much them not being upset. Well, partially I think it's, Mega's a kid, so she gets more attached to things like that, but also um like because the others are like a bit more seasoned, like they know how to get in like mission mode more than Omega does. So I think that was it, not as much that they didn't care.
Hmm.
Um, but Omega is very upset, and Tex is like, "Well, get another ship," and she's very upset, especially because she just lost Echo.
Well,
Um,
even
well,
Tech,
she said
like,
lost Echo, and Hunter's like, "We didn't lose him," but Omega's like, very upset.
yeah, which like I could understand Tech in a way because it's like that's it, they're all like more adult minded and they're like, well, you know, it's fine. We didn't have Echo in the first place and we survived, like we're okay.
Hmm.
But then Tech like decided to put it a step closer and he was like, what's your issue? He like literally said, what is your
Yeah.
issue? And I was like, dang, this is a child. Like you can like ask her like what's going on? Like what's happening? Like, hey, do you want to talk about No, it's just what's your issue? What's your deal? Like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
well, and that's when Omega basically runs away into the cave. Which was dangerous, but whatever. They don't
yeah.
know what's in that cave, but it's fine, I guess. Um, and that's Tech is kind of like, well, I just said the truth, and Hunter's like, man, come on. And Hunter encourages him to go talk to her. Meanwhile, Omega finds Ipsium like back in the mine. Um, and while they're clearing out the rocks, Tech actually says like, "Oh, if we can find more Ipsium in here, we can use it to explode and get out of here. Explode the rocks." Um, then when Tech goes to find Omega, um, they both had the same idea, which was kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're like, they're still it's still a little tense, but they're working together to help get the Ipsium until Omega falls.
She literally fell. And I was so scared. I thought it was Did you watch Encanto?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, there's this like I won't spoil it. I just thought like it was gonna be a joke and like maybe it wasn't that far down. No, she just fell straight through and
No,
it
it
was like a
was
splash.
um
And
yeah,
instead
no.
of Tech going back and being like, "Hey guys, by the way, we're Omega fell," he just jumped straight in, which
No,
is
honestly,
fair.
respect for that.
Yeah, I
Respect for
was
that
just
for
like,
real.
maybe you want to tell them where you are
Right.
first.
Well, and I don't know if he could hear the splash, which is the craziest part to me. I'm like, he just jumped. He's like, Omega's down there. And like, I'm going. Um, which was crazy. But they jump down and they land in like it's like a very like rushing. Is it still a river if it's underwater? I don't know what it is. Like a stream.
Uh,
Rushing water. It's rushing water
yes,
with a
it's like
strong current.
Ratatouille time, like where they're like going down the sewers, um,
Yes.
in the beginning, and they're like not drowning, but like Remy's just kind of getting tossed in water. They had a Ratatouille moment. But then they get into this like area where it's like all lit up by Ipsium on the bottom.
Yeah, there's like
It's
tons of Ipsium.
beautiful. And it reminded me of Final Fantasy 10, where it's like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say 10. I'm pretty sure it's 10, but my dad's gonna be either screaming or being like, yeah, 10,
I
duh.
think we need to
But
get like weekly correction notes for everything we say wrong. 10.
yeah, a grade for every
Yes.
episode. Um, but yeah, Final Fantasy 10, I believe, where like these two characters are in this like river, and it's like lit up the exact same way that this is lit up, and it's really cool because it's like blue slash like yellows-ish. It was so cool. Um, and then they go onto shore and they're dying.
Yeah, they like kind of wash up on a little like ledge thing. Um and so while they're like, going through the water, Hunter and Wrecker are trying to contact them and don't receive a response because they are in fact in their Ratatouille moment, as you said.
Mhm.
Um and so Tech actually messages Hunter, and when they land on there, they find like a crack where they can blow the Ipsium and get out, like easier than the upper one. Plus, I don't know if they'd be able to get back up. So, um, Tech is like, "Hey, you guys, like, come down here and like we'll blow out and we'll get out here and like bring all our stuff because they also like left a bunch of their stuff up top." Um,
Yeah, and then they were also like, be careful though, in case um you blow up. Just in
right.
case.
They're like, yeah, be careful with the Ipsium because it might blow up. And it's very funny. So while they're waiting for them to come down, Tech and Omega have a very sweet heart to heart, and I think it was my absolutely my favorite part of the episode. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, because
I mean, yeah, I liked it because different people process things differently.
mhm.
Like with both emotions, with how they learn things, like how they perceive people, or what, like, I could be, there are times where like I'm like, man, I'm really happy, but I look like I'm extremely like dead on the outside, but I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy right now. Um, and like sometimes people don't get that. It's there's a lot of different ways that people interpret things, and especially like Tech, who one, very techy, two, like he's also he's an adult. He's definitely lived a life of where he's had, you know, the Bad Batch, and like he's I'm guessing that he's experienced like loss, and especially he already went through that with like Crosshair and stuff. So like he's learned from this, and he also processes it differently than maybe like, definitely Omega would. So it was cool to see him explain that. And there's a specific quote that he says that I really like, but like it was something like, you fudge. Now I don't even know it, but it was something like, just because it seems like I process it differently doesn't mean that I don't care about it.
Mhm.
Like, which I like.
Yeah, and
And
I really liked how it was a teaching a moment for Omega, like, because Tech isn't, like you said, processing it in a way that's obvious to her and in a way that's different to her. But like he's still like that doesn't mean he doesn't care. And like
mhm.
um it was very, I think it was good for Omega to kind of realize that and and also like wasn't invalidating her feelings. Like he wasn't saying like you should have been upset. I'm just different. Like it was like,
Yeah.
also I think important for Tech to like realize how how his way of doing things, how that can look to people and how that might affect them too. And like having that connection, I think was really important.
Mhm.
And I thought that was just a very nice moment.
Yeah, it was very sweet and um yeah, a good, like you said, a good teaching moment for Omega. And that she's not alone in how she's feeling. It's just that some
Mhm.
people show it differently.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I thought
And
that
then
was very
Hunter and
cute.
Wrecker come
They're fine.
screaming,
They're
come
okay though. They
screaming
didn't explode.
over the water, and it was very funny. Um, and so they
Yeah.
managed to blow up the wall and get out, and they find the spaceport, which is deserted. It's like, huh, that's weird. But they do find a comm tower that they can message Sid for help. And
Mhm.
Sid is like, I'm busy.
Yeah, it was just
Which,
jerky.
yeah, that was so rude. And the Bad Batch, especially like we've done like so much for you. Like all we're asking for, and like this is a job for you. And like you kind of owe it to us. He's like, I'll pick you up in a few days. And they're like, we don't have food. Like,
Yeah, we don't have enough food for a few days.
right. And she's like, well, deal with it.
Yeah, and then she
um,
kind of gives in and she's like, "Fine, I'll send something later."
right. I'll get around to saving your lives from, this mission that I sent you on. Like,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, they kind of have to stay there and then yeah, I mean they're running out of
That's the end of the
rations.
episode. This
Mhm.
was the episode ended, and my dad was like, or it was like starting to get to the end. My dad was like, that can't be the whole episode. He's like, that can't be the ending. And then it gives a dun, 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 dun. He's like, what?
Yeah. I confess, so I don't usually watch episodes because I'm usually either really busy or I just play games instead. But I don't watch them until my dad or like you are like, "Hey, let's podcast," and I'm like, "Ah, okay, I gotta watch the episodes now." So I watched the two episodes, and they were both out by the time. So I watched the first one. I was like, oh, no, I don't want it to end there. And I was like, oh, I have one more to watch. Never mind. So I was pleasantly surprised, behind but surprised.
Yeah,
um it worked.
we're catching up.
Yeah, and I was glad. So the next one starts off with them fixing a bike,
Yes.
a speeder, which was really cool. But Omega is, thinking about, she's still thinking about, the Marauder and like her home, rightfully so. And then she thinks about Gonki and how they can track Gonki, um, which was a great idea. And I don't know why, but like, Wrecker was
I
like, yeah, you'll never be able to get him.
I'm gonna be straight up. I forgot Gonki existed.
I did too,
I
because I was
fully
confused. I was like, Gonki, he's
as soon as you
alive?
said his name, I was like, oh yeah, but I was like, I don't know if he's been like maybe in the background of a shot, I'm sure, but I don't know if he's been like
He's
mentioned like
definitely not like in every
prominently.
episode like
No. But
like
like, I don't even know if
Chopper
he's
would.
had like a focus shot or like even if they even said his name like all season. I straight up forgot he existed. And I felt bad because like, oh yeah, Gonki. Oh my gosh, I love Gonki. But I was like, wow, that was like I totally forgot about Gonki. Which and you know what? They forgot about Gonki too, so I don't feel that
Yeah.
bad.
I
But
I'm glad you said you forgot him because I was worried that I was gonna be like, yeah, I forgot him. You'd be like, oh, how could you
no,
forget Gonki? And I was like, oh,
I like totally forgot he existed.
that's yeah.
Um, like
um,
completely.
but Yeah. Well, thankfully he exists, and
now ever since this episode, when he's like in the background of a shot or something, now I notice him.
yeah, I'm like, oh my god, it's
Gonki.
Gonki. Look, it's Gonki,
So
guys.
maybe I'll have to rewatch like the rest of the episode and see if he has been in the background this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Just
You
play
just
like
have
a
to
where's
record every
like a
episode.
where's Waldo, but
Yeah.
where's Gonki?
I'm sure he's probably just on the ship because it doesn't seem like he doesn't go
No,
on
he definitely
missions,
just hangs
obviously.
out on the ship all the time. I just wonder if he's in the background in any shots like when they're on the ship, you know?
My thing is like, why didn't he beat up that kid? Like, why?
Bro doesn't have arms.
I'm just
What are
saying
they
he
supposed to
could have like
do?
kicked him. I don't know.
I do think so.
Like,
Gonki apparently has this thing that they can track his like I don't know what they call it. Like something they can track Gonki with. And it's like, can Gonki not message them and be like,
mhm.
hey y'all,
Hey, this
I'm here.
dude.
You know, I guess they can get maybe Gonki's not old enough to have a phone yet. He's not allowed. Um,
He's
but
younger than Omega's older than him.
I don't know how old
I
Gonki
don't
is.
know. I have no idea.
We need Gonki's age stat. When was Gonki created?
uh, yeah. So he's there, and she was able to get a good reading on him.
Yeah, she was able to find out pretty much exactly where she is. So they like fix up the speeder, I guess, and head over there. We
Mhm.
also then meet, so the person who stole the Marauder is some kid, who tells Gonki to shut up.
Yeah,
Poor Gonki.
rude.
Literally all he can do is walk around and say gonk. Why would you tell him to stop the one thing he can do?
Hello,
Hello?
Zoe.
Can you not hear me?
Hello.
Hello? What?
My internet go down.
I'm here. I can hear you. Can you not hear me? What the heck? Hello? Hello? What's happening? Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Technical issues.
It's fine.
So what I said was I think it was really mean that this kid told Gonki to shut up because literally the only thing Gonki can do is walk around and say gonk. So like you're gonna tell him to not do the only thing he can do. Like it's just cruel,
Yeah.
man.
I also thought it was interesting because there was like food on the ground, I guess because he was driving all wonky, and
Yeah.
that kid just ate it. He just
That
like,
kid was very hungry.
yeah.
Which we learned more about later.
Yeah.
But
Which
yeah,
if I
so
was that kid, I would have looked for more food
I
in
know
that ship. But
I
like,
probably would have just gotten food. But yeah, the kid was named Benny.
mhm.
Spelled in natural Star Wars fashion, Benni.
Yes.
Um, and so he flies up to the little like they have like a hole in the ground, kind of little civilization thing. He flies over and he's like, "Look, I got you this ship. It's so fancy and nice. Um, and you'll make me your top earner, right?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, fine. You can keep the broken gong troy."
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
don't remember his name. I have
his
it.
name was Moko. Mako.
Mako.
Mako. It was Mako. It was not Moko. That would
Mokos.
be silly.
Mokos is boogers. Um,
What?
yeah, in like Spanish, moco,
It's
mocos.
boogers?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
I thought it was Malak or something.
Mullet
Uh,
ball.
like I don't
It's
know, because I was trying to. My dad, my dad does the notes, so like he did the notes for the crossing, and then he didn't do he didn't put all like 38 photos for the retrieval. So he was like, just write a summary. So I did, and it was like it's like very like one sentence summary. It's like Omega finds Gonki. Gonki is with the kid, and the kid is gonna sell him for parts. They destroy the child, and like so on. But I thought it was funny, and yeah, Mako.
Mako.
Um,
Um,
I don't like that guy.
yeah, but it's not Mako spelled like Legend of Korra. It's Mokko.
Yes.
So he he's a big mean guy.
Yeah, and he's like in charge.
Yes, the big mean guy is always in charge, and he's I don't know what his species is.
I
But
have no idea.
it's weird.
Mhm.
I think he looks like kind of like a not like a mole rat. What am I thinking of? Like like an armadillo mixed with a mole rat.
Interesting.
That's I think what he looks like.
That's fair.
Um,
It's a fair assumption.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so he rewards Mako with food. So he pretty quickly established this is very much an Unkar plot situation. You have all these people who are, scavenging, mining, whatever, doing all these things, and in return they earn like bare minimum food and water. So, but this time, instead of the mostly adults we see in Force Awakens, it's all children.
Yeah, they're
Yay, child
all
labor.
little childs and
Yes.
they be working
About
and
Omega's age, if maybe a little older.
yeah, no. Omega
Um,
Omega is older and younger than some of them.
yes. The ones that Omega is older than are children. But if
Yes.
she's younger than them,
The other
they're
ones
not
are
children.
yeah, the other ones are probably teenagers.
Omega is the standard.
Hmm,
Yeah, it's the
hmm.
mix. I would say there weren't any younger than Omega. Maybe like by a tiny bit, but they're all about Omega's age or older.
Yeah.
But not
Uh,
much older.
no.
Um, so yeah, so they're gonna he's Benny's like, "Will I be your top earner?" And he's like, keep the droid. Like,
Yeah.
can I have water?"
And then he
And
gives them a little bit of water.
he like drinks out of the water and then like throws like the tiny bit left to the kid. It's
Yeah.
so again, it's very Unkar plot, very like 16 portions. You
Hmm.
know, I think they'd be friends. Mako and Plutt.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Omega and the others manage to track Gonki and find the hole in the ground, the big hole.
Hmm.
And we see Benny and he's with Gonki and he's being mean to Gonki. He's like, "You're defective, blah blah blah." And then Hunter and Tech. It was honestly, it was very funny. If it wasn't like a kid, and honestly, it already was funny. I thought at least in the beginning, I thought the kid was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I warmed up to him for sure, but at first I was like, oh, okay. Like
I
I felt
didn't
bad
really
for him. Don't get me wrong. I felt bad for him. Like clearly he was like in this terrible situation, but I was like, you're kind of annoying. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because they literally like he tried to run for it and they like, you know, K2SO to Jin like just knocked him to the
Yeah.
ground
It was like
from the
they're like
speeder.
literally surrounding this kid. Like
Also,
they're
yeah, we didn't even mention the fact that they fixed the speeder and all four of them, like all five of them,
I
rode on the
really
speeder.
wish we had an image of that
We have
because
like a short video, like 3 seconds, but oh my god, that
I need
was
like a very good image of all of them squeezed on that speeder because that was very
yeah.
funny. Yeah, but so this kid gets like surrounded by like it's like reminds me of that meme that's like, we heard what you said about blank, not cool. Like, that
Yeah.
was the vibe. Um, and yeah, and they're like, he's like, what do you care about this stupid gunk droid? And he's like, Gunk, he's our friend.
Hmm.
And so they threaten him basically into finding where their ship is. So he tells them, like, Mako, who's basically the owner of town, shows him, but he's like, I'm not gonna betray Mako, but they're like, we will literally shoot you. So he's
Yeah,
like,
we
okay.
literally do not care.
They're like, we will literally kill you, child. 'Cause, I mean, I guess it's fine because they're apparently also children, so it's not at all
Yeah,
sketch.
yeah, yeah. It's not like an adult killing a child. It's a child on
No,
child.
they're all children, so it's
Yeah.
like it's better.
Hmm.
Um,
So they didn't beat him up. They just bullied him a little,
they
you know?
bullied him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did. It was
Yeah.
kind of funny. It was kind of funny. I'm gonna say.
Yeah. They
I
do get
don't endorse bullying, but this time it was funny.
a little tiny bit. Um, yeah, they get to the ship though, and they're like taking it apart. So
Yeah.
they have to
Well, they
put
like
back
there's
all
like
the
this
stuff.
like the fire tube thing, and it's like, you know what I'm talking about? They have to like get into the tube, and it's like every like 1 minute cycle, like a giant thing of fire like blasts
Oh
up,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Mhm.
Benny's like, you guys are gonna make it in that time. It's like, watch me.
Yeah, and Hunter almost didn't because he had to fight
Hunter
someone,
almost
but
didn't
then
because there was this like droid sentry
yeah,
which wasn't supposed to be there according to text data.
yeah.
Um,
But he did make it, and then the
he didn't
rest
make
of
it,
them.
and he shuts off the thing so they can all get down. And the droid gets melted by the smoke. Hunter just barely makes it at the last second.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought that that droid was gonna be like unaffected because that makes sense to me. Like he would just kind of be unaffected by
right,
this.
he'd be very hot metal.
Yeah, but no, it just disintegrated
No,
him
that must
too.
have been very, very hot
Yeah, like
fumes. Like maybe Hunter was too close if it melted metal like that, but who am I to
yeah.
science in Star Wars?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and they get in and they see the Marauder being taken apart, and they need like a thing to shut down the ray shield so they can fly it out. So Omega goes with the kid because the others wouldn't blend in, but Omega blends in because she's a kid. She wears a poncho. She wears a little giant poncho. It's too big for her. It
Yeah.
goes in while they to go
I
get the
like when
data.
I like when Omega gets slightly new clothes though. It's cute.
Yes, no, all her outfits. We need like those like dolls that have like a bunch of different outfits, like they come with all the different outfits you can put on them. We need an Omega, and you can like
Yes.
switch out
Or
the
just
outfits,
like if
all the
she gets a Funko,
accessories,
it's like each little like poncho she's worn, a little
every
hat every
tiny.
time.
I mean, they did like God. There's like a million different Ray
Yeah.
Funkos. They could totally do it. Um, but yeah, so they're sneaking in while the others are trying to reassemble what's already been taken apart in the ship. And there's also like crates of like their stuff that's been taken out. Um, so then we see Mako. This was kind of traumatizing the Mako like
Zoe?
mukbang.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Why is he doing this?
Hello, Testing. Can you hear me? Ay, ay. Click. Hello. More technical issues, so we're back. Yeah, so like I was saying, we get the Mako mukbang, which traumatized me. I don't know about you. I felt very traumatized.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah, I just like
I will say the animation of eating and drinking, I know is very hard, and it's definitely, on the rare occasions they'd eat or drink in like early seasons of Clone Wars, it's a very remarkable, obvious improvement, especially like the food wasn't just like sticks like it
yeah.
often was in early Clone Wars. So I will say, wonderful improvement on the animation. Beautiful work. It's very technically skilled.
Mhm.
Still
I
traumatizing.
Yeah, well, because that was my thing is like, I understand that they were trying to show that this guy like just had so much to eat and he was like so selfish and like he was, swallowing everything. But I also thought it would have like I figured like if you do have that amount of food all of the time, like you would like chew your food. I don't know, cause like, cause
No,
I
right?
feel like
He's
it's
not
more
starving like these kids. Like he doesn't
yeah.
need to be doing all that.
Which is also probably why they made it like that. So like I understand, but I was like, I feel like, he would just be like, "Oh, yes, of course."
Let me take my time, make the children
Yeah.
wait while they're hungry. Well, you know what? They got their point across very quickly.
Yeah, they did.
Um, Again, slightly traumatizing, but
Yeah.
point was made.
Yeah.
Um, so meanwhile, Benny and Omega are sneaking through. Benny, we learn, is trying to get into Maka's like inner circle uh
Mhm.
of top earners, I guess. Because the inner
Yeah.
circle has like these access cards that get them into more places, and they get first pick of food. Um, yeah, so and they also like Mako or the kids are like some of the other kids are like playing a card game of some sort.
Mhm.
And the one kid kind of like ribbing Benny. I guess he's the competition for being in the inner circle.
Yeah.
Um, and meanwhile Benny
He
kind
seems
of
older
like,
too.
yeah, he seemed a little older. So kind of ribbing him, being classic school bully. And Benny like kind of pickpockets his access card to
Yeah.
get into the room they need to get into. The kid's name is Drake, by the way. I just saw that
Drake.
on Wikipedia. Drake.
I don't think it's spelled like
No, it's D
Star
R A
Warsy.
K Drake. Just
Yeah.
Drake. Just the
Should
just
be
the just the rapper.
it should be like Draike or something.
Drai, or maybe just like D um oh, Dra D-R-A-I-K, I think.
No E.
Is
Or
no
like a Y.
D-R-A-I-K-K.
hmm
I think that's how you Star Wars it.
With
Um,
an E. Just
yes,
to make it
Drake and
slightly
Benny,
longer.
and Tim with 2 M's.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, we could get really crazy. We could have Tim with 2 M's and a Y instead of an I. Get really crazy. But yeah, so Drake is the top earner, not Benny, which Benny is sad about because he brought this giant ship, this giant, very nice, very high class ship to Mako today. But Drake gets extra food. And the food for everyone else is so Drake gets a bowl of soup, and then he gets another bowl of soup of equal size, and that's for everyone else. Like, it's very
Yeah.
sad.
And they're all, just the
Yeah, and they're
same,
all
just
fighting over
gobbling
it
it.
too. They're not like, like trying to make sure that each get an equal share, obviously, because they're all kind of been conditioned to compete and fight. It's very Andor prison. The, the same vibes in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So and Omega is like kind of horrified. She's like, "What do you mean you're like competing for food?" Like she's very
That sucks.
perplexed by it. No, she's very like almost confused and like very angry almost on his behalf. And so they like, get to the secret room thing and they start transferring the data. And while they're doing that, Omega also finds basically evidence that because Mako's whole thing is like, I can't feed you guys as much because we don't have the resources. It's been a real dry season. We're not making money. And Omega finds evidence that that's not true. They're making a lot of money. And I think Omega also has a conversation with him where she's like, "Oh, why don't you leave?" And Benny's like, "Well, like this is my life, this is my home. Like I'm just gonna leave." Which Omega empathizes with, and yeah, they get the data and stuff, and they're walking back out to try and get back to the ship, but they're discovered.
Yeah.
Bum, bum.
Well, cause
They're always
bro.
discovered.
Well, yeah. And it's like these two kids too.
Yeah.
And then they chase after these two kids. Or Hunter does, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're like on like a bunch of like there's like this like kind of like couple bridges across the hole in the ground with like a endless chasm at the bottom naturally. And they're very not stable bridges either. But so Hunter is trying to find these kids, and then the Tech and Wrecker also come to help, and then Mako kind of confronts them, and you know, he's like, you can't shoot me because if you shoot and you miss, then you'll, blow the whole place up because it's all the Ipsium stuff.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't miss. It's okay.
Yeah, we don't miss, but he pulls out Omega and has a droid hang her over the edge. He's like, doesn't matter if you don't miss, she's going down. So obviously they're then, not going to do it. But so the kids, so Tech and Records, he's like, we're gonna make you miners. They're gonna be like the biggest miners now. But at this time, Benny also comes out and he's like, he shows the evidence to other kids and is like, he's lying, he's not helping. Oh, also the reason Omega got caught is because Benny pressed like a little alarm button.
Yeah, which like that they had like a kind of, when Omega was finding out the information, like she showed Benny and blah blah blah. But before that, they were, like you said, Omega was like, "What? You guys like fight for food? That's weird. Um, it's crazy." And she gives him food. He presses the button first behind her back, but then she gives her ration. She's like, "You can have mine," and he's like,
Yeah.
"For real?" And he's like super sketched about it. He's like looking at it funny and stuff. She's like, "No, just take it. It's okay." Which was very cute, very nice, very very kind of her. And it felt like he regretted it. It felt like, he like called Mako and then she gave him the ration and then she showed him the information and immediately he was like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have pressed that button." Like, I don't know. I felt bad for the kid, but I was also like, "You little jerk." He's just trying to
Yeah,
get her home back.
I know. But Drake and Benny, who were arguing before, they're beefing, but now they teamed up and they're like, Mako, like you're lying, you're exploiting us, blah, blah, blah. So all the kids basically rise up. Again, very Andor prison. Um,
Yeah.
and are turning against Mako once they realize the truth. And
And they don't
then
even touch him. They don't like they just kind of go near him and he falls over like a dummy.
yeah, no, he like just he goes down. He falls. Um, well, and actually Benny tries to like help pull him up, but Mako's just like, okay, I'll pull you down with me. And it's like he's like, what? He had no reason to help you, and you decide, yeah, crazy. Also there was an awesome move where the droid tries to throw Omega down. And Omega manages to pull the droid down with her, and then it's actually really sweet. Like she completely trusts Hunter because he swings up and grabs her, and she's like, there's no like moment of fear. It's like she has complete trust in Hunter,
Yeah.
which is so great. We love to see it.
Like
Um,
I would still be scared.
no, I would completely 100% trust and still be scared, and she was not.
Yeah, she was not
It's
scared. She just
crazy.
had
She had
trust.
complete faith. Um, Also, Hunter and Tech shoot the droids, and they did not miss. They did not blow anything up. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
then, now the kids are free, and they're like, okay, we're gonna keep mining, but this time we all get an equal share, and we all get to eat and have money and stuff, which
Yeah.
is nice. Very collective.
I'm hoping that
I'm
it
still
stays
like, it's
that
still.
way.
I hope it stays that way too. It's also
Especially they're kids.
still literally child minors.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that's still not great, but I mean, they want to do it,
Yeah.
so I guess
It
it's
might
fine.
like it's Star Wars, so I'm sure
It's
it'll
no,
end up
that's the thing
fine.
too.
But
It's also Star
but
Wars.
it would definitely be like a Lord of the Flies situation where
Yeah,
it's like there's these kids and the older
yeah,
ones are gonna be like, well, we're older. Like it's
yeah.
I'm hoping it stays good, but I
You know,
liked the part where Benny is like, well, if you ever need a good thief, let me know.
right.
So I like that we might
um,
be able to see him again if they're like, dang, we need to steal this thing. Who's a good thief that we know?
right.
And it's like cut to Benny.
Yes. Also, Rekka gives Gonki a big hug and also holds Lula, and
Yes.
I like those moments very much.
Well, that was my first fear when the Marauder was stolen. I was like,
I
her
know. I
doll,
thought the same thing. I
her
thought about
kaleidoscope.
Lula. I didn't think about the kaleidoscope. I forgot about that, but I thought about
I
Lula.
was like, her two toys.
Hey, she has that little clone doll too.
Yeah. Wait, clone doll? Oh,
Lula,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
clone
So
doll, and
3 toys.
3 toys. Come on now, get it right.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah. So I was
Yeah.
worried for her toys. I was like,
And
uh,
as they are leaving, there's also the moment of Omega and Tech kind of being like, Omega's like, well, like, like the Empire is like a bunch of Makos, basically.
mhm.
Like kind of real have starting to come to that same realization like Echo has. And Tech is like, yeah, but there's also a lot of people like us, which is a very nice sentiment, and it also turns out to be very true. Uh, so yeah, very, very good episode. Enjoyed it very much.
I liked it.
And they got their ship back. I was a little worried. I was like, is this
Yeah, they
gonna be
got their
like
home back.
a Razor Crest vibe? Is
Mhm.
that what we're going for here?
Well,
But
it would probably like I'm just glad that they got it because, Omega was like super, super upset
Omega was
about it.
devastated. Yeah. So
Which I would be too, like that's their whole home and their
no, I
car.
think
Like
even
it's
like if
all in one.
like like if it was my house or like even just my car, which I obviously don't live in, but like
Mhm.
even if it was just my car, I'd be very upset. So like I am glad
Yeah.
it's been returned.
Yes. Very good. Yeah. And the next episode was good too.
Yes, it's getting late and we are having technical issues.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna figure that out because yeah, I don't.
we will
I'm
talk.
also guessing it's my computer, but
We'll figure that out.
dying.
But so next time we talk about that, we will definitely talk about Metamorphosis. Like I said, I love this episode very much. And then we will also have the next episode coming out is episode 12, The Outpost, which is one I believe I've heard is supposed to have Crosshair in it? Question mark.
Mhm.
So we'll get to see what Crosshair's been up to since Cody left, and I'm sure he's being completely normal and mentally stable about everything.
Yeah. So quickly about the next episode though, I thought it was funny because like I don't know why, but I got metamorphosis and the word what is it? That like butterflies when they like turn into a little cocoon. I got
That is
those two words.
that is
Wait,
metamorphosis.
that's what I figured. Okay.
That's literally what it
I'm
is.
I'm not that dumb. Okay.
Metamorphosis is like the process of that change. So it could
Okay.
be butterflies, like
So
frogs, like
I know we're not gonna really talk about it, but like I really thought it was gonna be something like sweet, like oh, like I don't know, like Omega's growing up, or like
Omega
someone's
gets her
changing for
wings.
the better, someone's growing. Um, it was not that. I can say with confidence, it was very not that. That's it. But I was just like, oh, it must be something so sweet, so nice, so wholesome. Nah, it's kind of the opposite. But anyway, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes, so we'll talk more about Metamorphosis next week. Very good episode. I'm very excited to talk about that one.
Mhm.
Um, and we'll also have the Outpost, and then we will also at some point talk about the Mandalorian season 3 premiere, and episode 2 at some point when that comes out. We don't get titles for Mandalorian stuff, so
Mm.
this is chapter 18 right now, episode 2, chapter 18. Um, Yay! So
Yeah.
thank you all for listening. You can go to StarWarsGeek.com for polls, quizzes, blog articles, book reviews, all sorts of things. Twitter and Instagram are at SWGeekGirl, and the Facebook page is just Star Wars Geek Girl.
Yeah. For the Rogue Rebels, it's theroguerebels.com where my dad still posts things, mostly like podcasting and stuff. Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels Podcast, wherever you're listening to Star Wars Geek Girl, Facebook page The Rogue Rebels, Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam. And on that Twitter, my dad likes to repost like um podcast episodes that other people post on Twitter. So yeah.
Did he tell you to say that?
Huh?
Did he tell you to say that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, I forget about Twitter. Listen, I don't need to be lectured. I know. I'm bad at it.
It's funny because he called me like just before I was going into history class, and I was like, "What
He
is it?"
called you about it?
Yeah.
He texted me. I was like, oh, my buddy Sal texted me. Sal never. Oh, he's mad at me.
Well, it wasn't that bad. At first, it was like, "Hey, I need you to make me a Star Wars meme." I was like, "I'm going into class right now." And then he was like, also tell Zoe to post on Twitter about your episode so I can repost it. And I was like, I'm going to class right now.
I will make sure I post this one on Twitter. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, Star Wars Geek Girl. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzie.
May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.